Welcome to Scar Tissue, the podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Dlugolecki, and here we understand the power that lies within our pain, that lies within the scars and the wounds and the nicks and the burns that come with the experience of life. When we learn how to leverage this, it is a powerful tool and capital that not only can take you to your next level in your life, but can make massive impact on others as well in the most beautiful ways. So here on Scar Tissue, we have real, raw, and relatable conversations that will show you that there is not one way to live, that the word should doesn't exist and doesn't serve us in the vocabulary of our lives, that you are meant to live and create your most authentic self, and that we are worthy of everything, but entitled to nothing. It is up to us to create it, and to create from a place of love, opportunity, possibility, and authenticity. Let's dive in. I am so excited to introduce you to today's guest, such an amazing human, good friend of mine, and somebody who I just absolutely love playing life and business with. So please join me in welcoming Erik Rock. Erik is not only an amazing entrepreneur, he's an investor, he's a mentor, he's a coach, he's a speaker, he's an author. The list goes on and on and on. But, outside of his accolades that you can throw on the list, truly he is just a pure soul who pours so much love, authenticity, integrity, and truth into his people. And I have been honored to be a part of that. So Erik, welcome on.
Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So for some of the listeners, they've probably gotten to know you through my content and our work together and the event, but many people tuning in might not even be in the world of entrepreneurship. So let the people know who you be.
Let the people know.
Let
Well,
them know.
I will start by saying I wish this audience could have heard the first hour of this podcast before we started recording it. You ever been on a podcast before where you just start vibing and there's so much gold that comes out? It's like, all right, we're going to start now. I was like, what we've not started already? But we went really deep. We went so deep. And now it's like to reset is interesting. So, hi, my name is Erik Rock. But on the real, yeah. So I'm definitely a serial entrepreneur. I love the pressure of business 100%. This is where it's led me, is to you guys out in the light. It's a lot of what I preach is to step in the light, to find your truth, to find your voice, find your purpose, your passion, your mission in life. And had I known what I know now, this is probably where I would have started in business. This is not how it all started for me, obviously. But knowing what I know now, I literally would have started with personal brand as really making my heart, my face, sort of the forefront of what I did, mission and purpose I would have led with, but I just didn't have enough wherewithal in the early days to do that. I was just trying to win. All I knew is I had a deep desire since childhood to become somebody, to win. And that's the only thing I focused on. So, but it all led me to you guys. So
It's all perfect. Erik, it's an interesting thing that you bring up, because that's something that I get to really work on my mindset, to not allow myself to go there, not from a place of I wish, right? Because, I started in education, and if I had known what I know now, I would have started here immediately.
sure.
And so it's like always, I think for anyone listening, they can probably resonate. Like, how many times do we look back and be like, if I knew what I knew now, right? Like, I would do this differently. And I don't know what your thoughts are, but for me, it's just surrendering to a trust. And this is exactly how it was meant to unfold. And I don't know if you have anything that kind of you go to when those thoughts come up at all, or if they do.
Yeah, well, hindsight's always 2020. I think the smartest thing too is for anyone tuning in is, number one, just with this simple thought to start. Well, let's do this now. But what I really mean by that is a lot of these people that have now access to things that maybe me and you didn't. I'm 40 years old. You're 42, right? You're
I'm
40 years old.
40. Don't
Yeah, 40.
think I'm 42.
No, 42 like me. You're 42,
Okay.
right?
I just want to be clear to
Eric.
the audience. I just want
Yeah,
to be
no,
clear
I
to
get
the
it.
audience.
So we're
40
both 40.
people.
we grew up in an environment where there wasn't so much access to information. But for a young person now that doesn't know, if you just get connected to anyone through any kind of content that you may be consuming that has this message, you may be able to skip a lot of steps. I didn't have the wherewithal to know to go get coaching or mentorship. I would just say it's really valuable when you get near someone that's sort of done what you've wanted to do already. I would have skipped the Erik Rock today, could have gone back to the 18-year-old Erik Rock, and I would have skipped a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, a lot of imposter thoughts, a lot of terrible behavior and bad decisions. At every level I would have helped, but I just didn't know to go near people that were thriving at the highest levels. And I would have known how to have access to them, how to get into their worlds, how to bring value to their worlds. So knowing what I know now, of course that, but the main thing is this world now is filled with access to people and information. There's such an easier thread to skipping steps, and it's not through school and education. That's that traditional method that I think, unfortunately, is indoctrinating most kids to stay small, to be compliant, to live an uninspired life. And I say that with like all due respect. I just think the system has been hijacked and rigged by people that they don't have really like dream achievement as their primary objective anymore. Unfortunately, the people that kind of run this thing from the top. So to have access to a Melissa or to an Eric or anyone that you admire greatly through through social media and content, it's so important because it should inadvertently skip you right past a lot of the pain points that we had to fight through organically. But the bigger question is, do you need to go through those to become the person you are today? And that's something that is definitely worth a look. But at the end of the day, I have a lot of young people in my world, 18-year-olds, and they are light years ahead mentally, spiritually, and physically where I was at 18, primarily because they're near me. And I get to see it with my own eyes. I'm like, damn, this kid, like what a leg up he has. I was sitting at a table literally yesterday at a mastermind that I put on. I had a mother who had enough, she's an incredible woman, but she had enough bandwidth to bring her son and enroll him into my mastermind, which is a high ticket mastermind. It's not cheap. And so I got this 18-year-old in the group with a bunch of millionaires, right? And there's all like high level people in this room. And I'm sitting at this round table with the 18-year-old and I'm just like chewing on him. I just love it. He's already starting his own business. He's about to have his first customer. He's getting all sort of the groundwork done right now. And it's just amazing to see a young child, like a child, have this kind of leg up in life. What a genius play. And so again, testimony to the mother. Like I got to give the mother credit in this situation. And I want to just spice that story up with one last thought. So the mother, as we went around the table, she questioned her purpose, like what is her mission? Because that's a lot of what we challenge people with. And I looked at her, I said, you know what? You may, because of your son, be someone that's mission ends up affecting millions of lives. If your one mission in life is to raise an amazing human, to be an incredible mother, that alone, I don't think women give themselves enough credit for raising good children that have the access to and resources as early as possible. And this mother, her contribution to her son at this level at 18, it was so clear to me. It's like, oh my God, through you could touch millions of lives because you raised this person and then you made investments in him in the right areas. It's just genius. But you can see this 18-year-old just teeming being around this energy. While other 18-year-olds are drinking, they're partying, they're making terrible decisions. Here's this guy getting near the heart and soul of what I think is the holy grail to life.
Yeah. I mean, it is really powerful. And I do think that learning to think differently is really important. Like if you think about it, we're just programmed like from school and then it's just a checklist and you do this and then this is the next thing and then this is the next thing. And then, you go to college and then you, whatever it is. And it's just like so many people fall into this checklist way of living, and I think for me, one of the most powerful things in losing Layden was it gave me the space to let go of the word should, like, because they termed her case a catastrophe, right? And so it kept in my head, it kept being like, it shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. And then it really invited me into the space of understanding like my relationship with the word should. Well, this is how it should be. This is what we should do. This is what you should do next. This is what you shouldn't do. And I see that so often. And I just want to invite anyone listening into like really examining where are you taking action or doing things out of the way or from the word should, which is basically like kind of walking, like sleepwalking through life, just following a map that someone else has made for you rather than paving your own path, and
yeah.
Eric, I think something we both really, we have a lot of things in common. But I think that, and also fun fact, Eric's birthday is Layden's due date. So I'm like, I love that. I just love it. And I got to be with you when you were in Tulum. We had the event going on, but this was Layden's 10th birthday, and it was easily by
Mm.
far like the best my heart has felt on her birthday. Oh, I just got
Mm.
emotional. So thank you.
What a journey you've been on. And I would just add in the greatest people in the world that I've ever met. They're the ones that come through the worst circumstances and they turn those terrible circumstances into mission, purpose. And these are the people that leave the greatest gifts in the world. And there's so many people that do it the exact opposite way. They let the circumstance dictate with the value of their life, and they never really end up doing anything that's very inspiring. They don't really help humanity. They think they can't do something because of the circumstance that they unfortunately had. And I would say for people that have eyes to see, that could be the greatest gateway as a gift from God to live a life full of real value and purpose.
Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that. But we've both really kind of created our own paths in like our own ways. And so for you, like, what was that journey? Like, what was that trajectory like in terms of you kind of
Sure.
figuring out where you want to be and like what you really value? And you talk a lot about value and standards and how those have really played into what you're doing.
Yeah. I was on a podcast yesterday and the same sort of question came up and I was thinking about how I answered it because I really liked where my heart went in that moment. I think I might as well kind of steer it right in that same center of gravity. But so much of my childhood growing up was stacking chips on my shoulder and really learning how to leverage those. Some of my greatest mentors that I've had, Ben Newman, he calls these chips in a sense the burn. Tim Grover, he calls it the darkness. Tim Grover was the mindset and performance coach for all of Michael Jordan's career. So he literally coached the best, most aggressive, competitive mindsets in the world, and he called it the darkness. I do feel like I had some of that darkness my whole life. Somehow I was working so hard as a child because I was leveraging these early chips that were stacked on my shoulder. And what it would mean for me is in my mind, sort of quietly, I was saying, fuck you, watch me to everyone. It's like I had something to prove to everyone, even as a child. And so for years, it would take a long time before I would forgive that and come to my greatest self, my freest self, because you can get very far in life and win for an eternity if you just leverage pain. I mean, it'll take you far. You could leverage fear, leverage pain. There's a lot of great things to leverage along the way. The greatest gift you can leverage is real forgiveness and mission. Those are the two greatest gifts that you compare to each other. And I don't know if you can really be in your purpose and on your mission if you've not forgiven all the things. But the things that you may be forgiven are the things that kept you winning over a lifetime, if that makes sense. And so that was sort of my reality at an early age as I had a deep desire, maybe not for the right reasons at the time, but it didn't matter. I was a small guy. I didn't have a lot of natural talent. I was little for my age when I was young. And so at an early age, the thing I tapped into was the gym. Even at like 11 or 12 years old, I was working out every single day. And it was one gift that I got given to me by my older cousin, Trent. He was like a hero in my life because of this one gift he gave me. He was a Notre Dame college grad one summer that came into town. And I was just this 11-year-old little kid. And here's my older cousin who I looked at like a hero. And he taught me how to work out. And so that was the greatest sort of gift you could have given me as a child, someone that already had these natural chips on his shoulder. I now got to pour sort of that aggression into the gym. A very healthy addiction started accruing. And even at a young age, I was able to start leveraging endorphins. And what a great hack. Again, like trying to think about how to be a great parent. Like there's no one way, and even the best get it wrong. I mean, who knows what the best formula is. But when I look back, I realized sort of the nuts and bolts of me was actually a great formula. It kept me winning and I was searching for something. I was working for something as a child. So a lot of the people that I coach and entrepreneurs I coach that have children, especially ones that are winning, I coach a lot of rich people, people that have a lot of money, that are looking for that next level. I've coached a lot of wealth. I'll tell you this, so much of what they're doing is wrong that I see from just my honest perspective. They're doing it wrong. There's too much comfort for that child. There's got to be a certain degree of fight. Does that make sense? If a child comes to you with a problem, don't solve that child's problem. Let them work it out and shut up. I mean, it's a great piece of advice, right? Maybe it's not for some people, but for me, this is the sort of tenacity that I was forced in my life. My parents didn't have any resources. I never met my biological father. So I had a single mother for a lot of years, early years of my life. Then my stepdad came in. He was a very tough man. I was very scared of him. My whole childhood, I was so afraid of doing anything bad, but he became the person I was probably most obsessed with to please, to gain approval, to gain the love of. And even in that, there's a lesson in that. I was working for something at a young age that wasn't just handed to me. My brother was handed love, is what it felt like. My stepbrother, who that was his real dad. So we grew up in the same house, but we experienced different love. And I think the reality of his world in mine, even in the same household, was so different that I felt like Cinderella in many cases my whole life. And I started leveraging those emotions to try to win, to become someone. And again, so this is where the fight in a child starts, and there's real value in this. If you could figure out how to do this in a healthy way, and I think you can, by the way, there's so much money in this conversation, because when you look at Cinderella, first of all, Cinderella ended up being beautiful. She was always beautiful. She was always classy. She always had heart, spirit, soul. All the animals loved Cinderella. I love telling this story. Cinderella ended up with the prince in the castle. Trust me, you do not want to be Drizella and Anastasia, the ugly, wretched humans who had everything handed to them. You don't want to be an Anastasia, trust me, or Drizella. I mean, that story of Cinderella, I think, is really profound, because that honestly might be the best way to curate a winning mindset at a young age. Let them work for it. And I was working for something at a young age. It's only now that I'm so grateful for it. It became my greatest gift, and I'm very thankful for it. And I forgave the emotions that I was leveraging the wrong way the whole time, even though they were letting me win. I had to forgive them to be fully free, to take the handcuffs off. I had to fully forgive. That wouldn't happen until I was almost 40, if you can believe it. Like deep, actually at 40. I mean, literally in this year, I fully came free. And it was only because I stepped into the light, which challenged me in ways that nothing I'd ever done ever has, which is a different story, a different part of this podcast, I'm sure, maybe. But going back to that young child, there's a lot of lessons and there's a lot of nuts and bolts in this story, I promise you. And there's a lot of connection that I make in my story to other people that are winning. People that win at the highest levels have nothing handed to them, I promise you. Now, if you are one of those odd, rare specimens, you're just an odd duck. It's very hard to hand down resilience. It's very hard to hand down the temperament that keeps the greatest winners winning at the highest levels. These are people that are tenacious. They are aggressive. They are hunters. They fight hard. They stay in the burn longer than the next guy. How do you build that in a child? How do you build that kind of desire, that will to win? It means they have to be in some sort of fight. Listen, just like, I mean, a gym is a great representation. When you tear all that muscle tissue, you have to physically go tear it. It's hard work. It breaks you apart. Your body is actually shredded apart. All these micro tears that are bleeding all over your bodies that you're destroying. There's a growth process. The growth happens in the repair. You tear it, you repair it. You tear it, you repair it. If you're never tearing it, there's nothing to repair. There's no growth. And comfort is what I think is destroying modern day humanity in children. We have iPhones. We are on the couch all the time. We have an obesity problem in this country like never before. We're eating chemicals on a regular basis. Listen, there's no shortage of pessimistic problems I could present in this podcast. But at the end of the day, you have the decision as a parent, as a human, how you're going to live, what you're going to put in your mouth, what decisions you're going to make. You get to decide how you're going to operate, and you get to decide what kind of comfort you're going to decide to live in, and your children are going to get to live in. These are all profound decisions, but it's very hard, I think, to thrive at the highest levels if you're not in an environment where people are challenging you, when you're not near people that operate their lives the way like me and you do, with really high standards. That gets challenging. And I think when I look around humanity at large, their environment is plagued with toxic behavior, bad habits. There's a lot of alcohol going on, a lot of partying, a lot of drinking, a lot of small thinking, a lot of really painful experiences that are redundant. There's no systems, there's no processes, no one's building anything. No one's dreaming big. And if they are, that's all they are. There's a dream. There's no blueprint to put behind it. When you get to the core of like what the value we try to present to people, you really have to go start with, what did your life look like in the beginning? What cultivated the mindset that you have? And if you have a bad mindset, if your mindset's not ticking at the highest levels, well, then we have work to do. And this is what's cool is I've watched a mindset get warped just by getting in the right room, by changing your environment. That alone is like, listen, if you're around me long enough, you'll stop drinking. You'll never drink alcohol again if you're in my proximity. My standard is so high, and I'm so contagious as a human because I'm so aggressive for life. You'll want to be this too. I'm inspired by my own actions, and it's because I'm around people constantly that inspire me. that have insanely high standards, that win at the highest levels, and they truly are free. No handcuffs. Most people in life are slaves. I'll kind of end that thought with that.
So many nuggets in there, as always. Thank you for sharing. And it's interesting for anyone to reflect on like how their childhood impacted, their mindset, their behaviors, and where they're going. And it's not a right or wrong. And I really want to emphasize that your point around forgiveness and remembering. This is what I always come back to. We actually had very similar things. We've talked about this a bit before, but like, my parents are divorced, and I did see my biological father growing up. Last time I've seen him was Layden's funeral 10 years ago. So, we really never had a relationship, like a real one. I was very fortunate in that my stepdad and my mom, like we were in good shape, but my stepdad he instilled such a work ethic in me. Like nothing was handed out. This is your budget for your prom dress. Anything above that, you're paying for. I mean, I was working since I was like 12 years old. I was like getting certified to be a babysitter. You know what I mean? I was running a hot dog stand actually when I was 10 years old. I was working at the coffee shop every weekend. And I think that was really, really powerful. I definitely a lot of things of feeling like not quite the Cinderella, but like kind of the outsider, because it was like his 3 boys that he had with my mom and then me, right? And I just felt like,
I feel that.
I created a lot of my own stories, but I felt very much like an outsider. I actually turned to like my teacher at the time, probably why I went into education, right? Looking at how impacted we are. Teacher, coach, I think I told you he was a football coach. He was a baseball coach. And he actually used to joke that he was like my third dad, but how much all of these things impact us. And I always had that work ethic instilled in me. And my dad always says, like, I call my dad, he's my stepdad, but he always says, Melissa, no one's going to outwork you. And I'm going to visit them soon, like next week. And I'm literally going to be like, Dad, I met someone who I think might be able to outwork me. His name's Eric.
Yeah. No, you work as hard as they come. At some point, like, listen, let me add to this side. You're a workhorse. I know you very well. At some point, you can only work so hard. It gets to a point when it all is the same. I mean, I'm talking to my boy Eric Spofford yesterday over in Miami, and this is, by the time he was done with the day, he had 13 hours placed yesterday on his day. That's normal for me. That's normal for you. 12, 13-hour days are very normal. Like I get up way before the sun, and I'll stop working. I'll put the pen down way after the sun goes down. This is so fucking, that's an everyday occurrence almost. Like I don't stop working, but at some point, you can only work so much. The game really becomes about being efficient, systems, processes, scaling, working smarter, not harder. But yeah, you're right. It's a prerequisite for real success. Yeah, you got to put in a lot of fucking hours. Listen, you want to buy shit without looking at the fucking at the price tag. You got to work without looking at the clock. Period.
It's like a mic drop right there. Like, goodbye, everyone. You got enough.
It's true.
No, but okay, something I want to go into this, because actually, as we're just dropping in, and obviously you and I never script what we're going to go into, but
no.
One, you got to love the burn. You brought up the burn. Don't just feel it, love the fucking burn. I love it. Like I was at the gym this morning and like, man, I was doing like sled pushes and it burned. And I was like, oh, like,
hell yeah.
Lit up. I like get turned on by the burn. Literally, like,
let's go. Let's go.
Work. Like, so I want to invite everyone into that. But you and I talk a lot about living rare. And
oh yeah.
And like, there's like this complacency or this, I don't know what it is. I don't want to say complacency, but this false expectation a lot of people have that to create extraordinary results, that they can bypass the grunt work, the grind, and all of that. And like, not only do I think that's unrealistic and like, kind of like almost like a hidden entitlement. Sorry, just going to say it. I think that it's actually robbing yourself of experiencing, like, why would you want to miss that part? Like,
you're taking the words out of my mouth.
Okay, you go.
Listen, if you didn't earn it, you don't want it. If it didn't hurt, give it back, because it doesn't mean shit. If there's not a pain point, it has no meaning. I promise you, money won't mean anything if you didn't work for it. Listen, like this idea of being a trust fund baby makes me sick to my stomach. Keep the fucking money. I want to earn it myself, because that's where the real pride comes in. That's where real fulfillment comes in. That's where looking at what you created and you're proud of it. People that wait around for their parents to die, trust me, because now I'm around a lot of wealthy people and I hear this all the time. I just talked about this the other day. Generational wealth. You hear so many people talking about, I'm building generational wealth. Oh, so you can go leave your kids a bunch of problems. You know how many times the patriarch of a family dies? And here come the kids like little swarming sharks. You know how tacky and distasteful that is? That literally kind of breaks my heart. But the reality is that causes so much feud in family. I've seen families destroyed over money. At the end of the day, you should not be wanting to leave your kids money. You should be wanting to leave them the resources to make their fucking own, the mindset to make their own, the resilience to make their own, the perseverance to make their own. Go get your own bag. I'm going to leave this money to the dolphins who are suffering over in Venezuela. Like, you get my point? There's so many better uses. I'll keep a foundation going of charity. At the end of the day, there's no freebies. There's no free lunches because it is only going to hurt you. If you can't make it on your own, you should not be part of this conversation. Like, at the end of the day, like, this is what winners look like. This is what they feel like. Generational wealth is actually a curse. I've watched it destroy families. My business partner who's a billionaire made some horrific mistakes with his children, and he's very honest about it. These little brats, because he was already very wealthy by the time they came of age, he did it all wrong, and he regrets all of it. He's not leaving them a dime now. He's taken that back. He's already written tens of millions of dollars in checks to these kids. They've embezzled money out of his company. Trust me when I tell you, when it comes to wealth, most kids are fucked up. It's because they don't have any resilience. Listen, guys like me and you, Melissa, will circle around these motherfuckers.
Oh, girl.
Trust. You get my point. Trust fund babies, guys like us, like humans like us, people like us, we will fucking destroy you. And that is just the resources because we are so hungry. It's hard to be hungry if you never had to work for it. How are you going to be hungry if you've been being fed your whole life? And we talk a lot about this, living a rare life. To me, I mean, I'll just go to this ancestral connection to being hungry in general. Listen, we hunt hungry. We don't hunt on full bellies. We hunt hungry. It's ancestral. It's in our nature. I actually take that physically seriously. I don't eat. I eat one meal a day because I stay hungry all day. The second I eat, I feel lazy, tired, and sloppy. I mean, it literally goes down to like actually food for me. I want to be hungry all day. And I think that's metaphorically true. And it's literally true for me. Mm-hmm. But a rare life. Yeah, so good.
I know. We're both the same. We both like, when you're like, I only eat one meal, I'm like, me too. You know, it just works. It's just, you know, people complicate things so much. Like, think about the amount of time wasted on meal prep or Pinterest searching recipes or this or that and grocery shop. Like, it's just like, my time is way too valuable. And two, I don't need it. I do look back at versions of me and I feel sad for her. Like, I was talking about this recently with someone when I was like broke and I like wanted to like, you know, impress at a barbecue and went to 2 grocery stores and was searching on Pinterest. So yes, that was me, to make like the perfect lobster macaroni and cheese. You know what I mean? Like, that was $92 for a fucking dish. Now I'm like, Meffy, can you, like, my chef, Meffy, you gonna make something? You know, like, I'm not like, that's not where I'm spending my time, but I digressed a little bit. You were really speaking into, God, you have so many.
Being hungry. Staying hungry. Well, let me just add to that real quick because I think the audience would want to hear this. Listen, food is killing America. It's killing everyone in this country. You're watching a plague happen right in front of you and you're just sleeping while it's happening. And listen, every time you're hungry, you should not eat. Like, I'm just going to say this right now, like, speaking to the health side of me, it took me a lifetime of being obsessed with how to be a top performer to realize you don't need to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What a waste of fucking time. Being hungry is a gift. It's a gift from God. Trust me, you want to be aggressive, hungry hunter in life. When you're hungry, everything gets clear when you go on the hunt. You walk softer. You're like a panda in the wild, just softly walking through the jungle looking for food. You know what I mean? You're very, very soft and you're a creature that is like very, very, you have clarity. Your mind is teeming. People mistake that as hangry. They haven't figured out how to repurpose that energy into focus. But I would just say this from a health perspective. I'm just going to dabble a little love here. When your body is in a state of autophagy every day, that means your body has no calories and you're starting to go into ketosis. Your body's burning fat for fuel because there's no sugar and there's no glucose in your body. There's no food in your body. There's no calories in your body. There's no carbohydrates in your body. That is a beautiful state in your body. Your body's recycling broken down proteins. you are not going to do anything but thrive in life. And I didn't know this till I got closer to my late 30s, for I would stumble upon this gift that I wish someone would have given me when I was younger. I ate like 6 meals a day for years, food prepping, trying to have the perfect body, all this shit. I have the best body in my life, and I eat 1 meal a day. I drink 3 protein shakes a day. It's that simple. Like, I make it so simple now. And guess what? Autophagy preserves my muscles in ways that I would have never imagined. So like I've solved a lot of the check boxes in life about how to be efficient, so that I can go perform in the marketplace and not stress about breakfast or lunch. You know, people see like stressing, oh, we got to eat. Why do we got to eat? And then people take it to the next level. They need to have a drink. Let's have a cocktail. Like, what? Why? What the fuck? Like, how is that going to be a something in this moment that makes sense right now? Like, people are bizarre to me.
Oh, I so appreciate that. And I'm going to connect this back to what we were just talking about, but I do want to add in there, especially for my ladies who are like, I don't want to go hunting. Like I don't want to be hungry to go hunting. Here's what I will tell you what it means for me is like, because I don't experience that. So I don't experience like, I'm hungry, I'm going to go hunt. Like, I don't ever experience that. And I eat the same as you. I have actually 2 protein shakes a day and 1 meal.
I do 3.
I know you said that. So
we're close. Yeah.
We're close. But you probably need much more protein than I do. But I experience, when I feel the hunger, I experience deferral of gratification. Like, these are the things that I align with. Does this make sense, Eric? Like, when it comes up, I'm like, for me, I'm stepping into patience. I'm stepping into like, I'm not giving into an impulse of immediate gratification to just go like eat something, right?
Totally.
So that's more for what I experience. And like the hunting, I experience gratitude for like simplicity, and like also this like feeling of like enough. Like, I don't need all that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just this like, it's a different experience for me, but we have the same philosophy.
Sure.
But I wanted to just offer that for someone who, like, I do think that there is such a biological part of it where like you are ready to go hunting. For me, I don't actually experience that as much as like just this like connection to self, this patience, this discipline, this gratitude. And like, no, Melissa, you're stronger than your impulses, right?
I agree. Yeah, and there's a thing you could pair with that, with the hunting, that is, I think, connection to what you're saying, and that is to show up as the best mother, the best friend, the best husband, the best wife, the best entrepreneur, the best worker, whatever you do. The worst version of you is when you just slammed a bunch of food because you get tired, your body goes into a state where it's trying to break down all that food. People biologically don't understand what's happening when you take in a big meal. You do that you do that the first thing in the morning, you've already setting yourself up for like a real sleepy day. Like, I just see how food affects people. I watch it all the time. I travel all the time. I'm on a plane last night with everyone in the front of that plane's drinking cocktails. Guy next to me had 3 Tito's bottles all lined up right next to me. And I'm just watching him thinking like, and here comes the food. And it's just like, people don't understand what they're doing. So again, being a hungry hunter, however you want to hunt life, if you want to hunt as a better mother, a better husband, a better father, it doesn't matter what, it doesn't necessarily need to be money in the marketplace, but you do show up differently when you delayed the gratification of eating all day. Yeah. And it's just something about, I've connected it to performance, like literally performance as a human. Like, it is so freeing to not stress about that thing that everyone seems to be stressing about. I watch people stress about food all day, and they've missed the mindset connection to a greater version of themselves. And our ancestors didn't eat every time they had an itch. You know what I mean?
And it's a business. Like, let's be honest, it's a business. But like the food industry, right? I mean, they have great PR. We're both entrepreneurs. The food industry's got amazing PR. Like, you look back at the got milk, like, come on, like.
Well, they're killing Americans. Actually, I just think we have the worst food standards in any in the world, at least in Canada, even in Canada, which is a shitty country as far as how they're politically ran. But even their food standards there, it's like real food. There's a lot more chemicals in your food than you would realize. And that's why we have a masculinity problem. You're seeing literally masculinity being stripped through food and chemicals. These men literally grown men who are 25 years old have 0 testosterone. You're seeing the problem that's happening from the addictive chemicals that are in food. That bag of chips, the reason you want to keep eating it, you're never satiated, is because it's chemicals. Like, we are killing Americans, and no one's talking about this. So what I do is this. I break it down to performance. Food and performance, they go hand in hand. If you don't eat right, you can't perform right. How are you going to perform against someone that feels amazing, that's passionate, and they love what they do? Like, to
Oh,
get this part right, you better get the food right too, because if you're eating the wrong thing all day, you're going to feel like shit. And you got to go against people that are savages in the marketplace. If you really want to win at the highest levels, you have to go against, trust me, there's market share that's being stolen from you because you don't feel good. You're sleepy and you're tired all day. Listen, and I hate to say, like, I'm never tired. I remember old versions of me that seemed to be tired all the time. And I'd have to fight through it because I'm very disciplined. But I'd look at all the fucking meals that I'm eating. And now I connect. I was like, that's what it was. All day I was eating. And that, again, like, if we're trying to give value to the audience, what's the greatest thing that they may take from this? What if the one thing they take is, hey, they go recheck their reality of what they eat every day, and they connect it to performance in the marketplace. I do this with entrepreneurs all the time, and once they get through the period where the toxins that get released from their bloodstream, or get released in their bloodstream from the fat that is now being burned in ketosis, once they get through that period of time, they feel incredible. And when you feel incredible, you're more likely to be courageous, take risks, go start a business, go be a business, go do something scary, say something on social media, something you're normally afraid to do. You just start thriving more in life when you feel good. And if the greatest gift, Melissa, me and you can give humanity is, if the one thing they can really practically take from us is figure out how to feel good. Go get your blood work. See how bad you are. Get in alignment with your health. Then you can get in alignment with the greatest spirit that you have to offer the world. Like, if your body, mind, and spirit aren't in alignment, then you're going to wander through life stuck. It's very hard to get unstuck. And 9 out of 10 people I meet, they will tell you that they feel stuck. It is so common to hear that. And it's because they're not in alignment. Their mind, their body, and their spirit are not in alignment. You add that fourth element of really thriving financially, and it's a deadly weapon, because now you feel free and you feel like you could do anything. Do you know how contagious this energy is?
yeah, believe me, I know. Well, I think I've stuck around. So, I mean, I also think that there's something really powerful there. One, obviously, we're both very passionate about this. My whole
Totally.
study of gut health came after Layden died,
Amazing.
So, like,
Powerful.
I do think it is an important message that is related to a bigger picture of, like,
Yes.
we take health for granted. And,
Why you can't win without it? Why would you want to win without it? If you don't have health, you don't have nothing. People aren't thinking about their deathbed. They're not thinking about the cardiac event that's about to happen, the disease that's about to happen. We all have bad news coming. And we all are in control of much more than we think. I had on my podcast yesterday one of the most incredible guests who beat cancer at 26 years old when he got it holistically. He's written 3 books and he's written a cookbook, but he beat it holistically. He re-engaged my mind to something that was so powerful. And that's probably why I'm bringing it up right now. It was that reminder: you can't try to give value to the world and help people thrive financially, mentally, spiritually, if you're allowing them to kill themselves on a regular basis with the shit they put in their mouth. And trust me, the chemicals you're eating in those Doritos are killing you. The soda that you just got is killing you. Like, you don't realize it. It is stealing your ability to be the greatest human you can be. It's only when you feel good and there's no inflammation in your body, and you have mental clarity and you're full of energy, that you can see what you can do in this life. I'm convinced it's very hard to flex in a way that really matters if you're plagued with disease.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I really think that the shift, I mean, look, there's an unprogramming that needs to be done. But I think people often associate, well, the Doritos are bad because of the calories. No, 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 no. It's the chemicals. And so really beginning to
Garbage.
understand that. And, like, honestly, we have such limiting beliefs. Like, I had someone, I'm 40. We discussed this. I'm 40 as well. I'm probably in the best shape of my life. And
You are.
I've literally had people say to me, like, well, wait until you're 40 and your body's going to change. And I'm like, I am 40.
I'm 40. I hear that. I've heard that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Or wait until you have kids. And I'm like, I birthed a child.
Yeah.
Like, and what's really interesting is, like, when I was pregnant with Layden, I was so afraid of having stretch marks. And then after she died, I was like, oh, I kind of actually wish I had stretch marks, because it was like there was no evidence. You know what I mean? And now I'm in a place where, like, I don't need the evidence on my body that I had Layden. Like, she's in my soul, she's in my heart, like, I'm glad I don't have them. But, people have all these limiting beliefs about what health needs to look like or body needs to look like. And we're 2 people who are, in the prime at 40.
You know what? You told me something profound. You told me you had these limiting beliefs that were stopping you from reaching your fullest potential, and I thought they were really good. I think you should share this with your audience. Is when Layden passed away, and you finally started, I think it was probably around the time you started finally coming to the realization that you need to do something with your life that matters instead of wallow in your sorrows and your grief. You have to convert this energy into something matters. But you had all these imposter thoughts and all these stories you were telling yourself that I thought were super profound, that were actually holding you back. Like, well, what are people going to think I'm building a business off of late? Like all these like crazy thoughts that were real for you that actually could have easily stopped you from doing the thing. But you know how many people out in the marketplace are telling themselves a story about something that's holding them back? And that is imagine if you would have actually listened to that voice. I don't know if you could speak to that for a minute, because I think that was really profound.
Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing the space of scar tissue with me. I hope you found value in this episode. It is truly my commitment and goal to bring what I believe will serve you in your life, no matter what you're navigating. Again, this show is inspired from the loss of my daughter, Layden, and through my grief journey, really understanding empathy, understanding empowerment, understanding how to be the creators of our lives in a whole new way that is stronger than circumstance, that focuses on progress, not perfection, that loves the process, and lets go of attachment to outcome. So whatever resonated the most with you, allow that to serve you in you elevating to your next level. And if you love this show, please share it, please pass it along, spread this work, and would mean so much if you took a moment to even rate and review it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I appreciate being here with you all, and it is an honor to witness your journeys and your greatness.